Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Profitable Mindset Podcast.
Welcome to the Profitable Mindset, a show dedicated to teaching you the skills you need to build a profitable product-based business that makes you feel free and fully in control. Here is your host, Charlotte Smith.
Hey there, welcome to episode number 49, How to Scale Your Farm for More Profit. And by scale, I mean whatever that looks like for you. Are you going from a very small farm to adding a little bit more? Or are you doubling or tripling or 10xing your sales? Do you have a huge farm? You're growing even bigger, whatever scaling means to you. There are some key concepts and strategies that you'll want to keep in mind when you're planning to do that. But first, I want to talk to you just a little bit about my group coaching program. We're in the midst of this right now. It has been so much fun. Today, I coached two lovely ladies, one feeling regret. And so she wasn't able to do the things that she needed to do in her life and in her business because of that emotion, and got her to a place of feeling excited. And then another person challenged with feeling inadequate and inferior. And it's so fun to coach my clients on teaching them how to turn this around so they can finally start doing the things they want to do and living the life they want to live. It's amazing. Okay, speaking of amazing results, I got a great testimonial from one of my clients. Her name is Rachel, and she said this. She said, prior to coaching, I was a slave to the anxiety of my day job that builds the farm. I was in a constant state of trying to escape unhealthy thoughts and the victim mentality I'd fallen into. I felt trapped every day with no way out, and my performance suffered because of it. Through coaching with Charlotte these last 6 weeks, I've been able to stop feeling trapped and finally realize that I'm the one deciding daily to create this life we want to live. I'm not a victim to this job, and instead of feeling trapped and overwhelmed, I now feel gratitude. I've completely changed how I feel each day, even though I'm still doing the same job and the same things. And I can't describe how freeing this is. After years of struggling to overcome this victim mentality and this trapped feeling, I just feel so free in my life. While I've not mastered all the aspects of my unhelpful thoughts, even these small steps have helped tremendously. These past 6 weeks of coaching with Charlotte have been truly life-changing. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else who needs help with your mindset because it's holding you back, consider my group coaching program is not open again until next year. So consider coaching with me one-on-one. You can go to 3calmarketing.com/strategy to sign up for a free strategy session where you will decide if you're ready to invest in coaching. So always know that you can go there and figure that out. Okay, let's dive back into episode 49, which is all about scaling your farm business. So a lot of people will talk about scaling a lot, how to grow, how to get bigger. We need to produce more. But what you want to make sure of is, do you have a business that you can actually scale? Which means, can you grow the business beyond where it is right now? You want to take a look at that. One of the biggest problems I see with farmers is they try to scale their businesses way too early without taking care of some other preliminary things. So a lot of people will have some success the first season, and they think, well, that was easier than I thought, and they double their production. And what happens is the second season, they have not developed the foundation of a lot of things they need to run their business and to be able to scale, including marketing and relationship building. They didn't learn how to do it. So it was really easy to sell when you were small scale because it was mostly friends and family and friends of friends. You sold out very quickly the first season. But then when you double up and you actually have to market to people who are not your friends and family, well, there's some skill in that you haven't learned yet. So most people scale way too early. They haven't learned the skill and they end up with a lot of extra products stuck in a freezer and they're scrambling. They end up dropping the price to move it and it's a flop. They make less money than they made with a smaller amount of product. All right, there's another mistake people make in scaling. And sometimes they scale what I call horizontally. So they might start out with chickens. And instead of doubling up on chickens, they think, well, we're not selling enough of the chickens at the right price to make money. So they keep doing chickens, but they add some pigs. And they think the pigs will draw more customers. And so they go forward with that and they realize, oh, we're selling a few pigs and a few chickens, but nothing's making us money. So now we're going to add milk or vegetables or flowers. And the problem is they never learned how to market their products. They never learned how to sell. They didn't learn modern online marketing. So it's not working for them. So they got the chickens, the pigs, they added the third, and now they're thinking they need to add a fourth product. So they've scaled horizontally. They've got 3 or 4 species and multiple products, and they can't sell any of them at the price they need to make a profit because they never learned how, and they end up going broke. They're just spread way too thin, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, every way. So that's one way a lot of farmers will scale and fail. And the second way is that they scale vertically too quickly. So they raised the chickens, like I talked about the first season. They find it super easy to sell 200 chickens because, they keep 50 for their own freezer and they sell some to their friends and family, and the 200 chickens are gone. So next season, they think, well, let's just raise 1,000 chickens. 200 was so easy. There's so much demand. We're going to raise 1,000. And then I get the email that says, help, we have 750 chickens in a freezer and nobody's buying them. And they think that people aren't interested in chickens anymore. But the problem is, it's just that they didn't learn how to market them or sell them or build relationships in today's world. So that is scaling vertically too quickly. So make sure you don't make those 2 mistakes. They didn't learn the skills. You got a lot of skills you got to learn those first couple years while your business is small. Therefore, in order to scale successfully, you've got to have a business that is already successful at the small scale. So many farmers I talk to are trying to scale a broken business that they've already created. So they got this business, it's not quite working, they aren't quite making money, and they think scaling is the fix. Sales aren't quite what they'd hoped for, and they need to increase their price, but they think, well, we'll just add a variety of products so that we can raise our price after we have more products available. They think that's going to attract more people to pay higher prices. So instead of learning how to increase the price where they're at the small scale and be successful, they grow too quickly. They scale up in order to make more profit. And what happens is, I call that you just grow broke. You grow broke, you go broke quicker because you didn't learn how to have a successful small business before you scaled. You can't scale up a business that's not making money right now and have it be successful once it gets larger. Okay, so make sure you are profitable at a small scale and you have a business that's healthy. A profitable business has financial reserves. Now, the financial reserves might be your operating capital. It might be your day job where you're putting money into the business every month. That could be your reserves that you use to scale. But a healthy business also has lots of systems in place. It has employees in place. And maybe it's just one employee, but it's already in place because you can't scale without help. And this applies to all size farms, really. I work with farms that might be 10,000 acres or several thousand acres, all the way down to farmers who are on small lots, who are doing microgreens, flowers, herbs, things like that. So the size is not important there. It could be a very small farm, but you've got a little bit of help. You have one part-time employee out doing some of the manual labor and maybe someone in your office helping out too for a few hours a week. But the key is you've got to have those things in place already because scaling a farm is very expensive. So you have to have those things working. Now, let's take a look at businesses like those in Silicon Valley that are scaling. Well, the way they scale, because there's a lot we could learn from them, is they bring in outside funding to pay for the scalability. And what happens is those outside funders, the venture capitalists, take a really good look at the business and they make sure that it's healthy. They make sure that the processes and the systems are in place. They make sure that the marketing is really, really good and working. Once they discover the health of the business and that it's healthy, then they can put tons of money into it and that business can grow very rapidly. Well, most of us as farmers will not have that outside funding, which means we don't have these experts saying, show us the health of your business. So you're going to have to do this work on your own, and that's okay. And here's a side note too. What's interesting is that some farmers do have outside funding or angel investors maybe, or maybe they have a group of customers that have gotten together and agreed to give them some money. But what happens is many of those people go out of business because the investors were not business people. They often will buy into this romantic idea of giving money to support their local farmer, but they didn't know to do all these checks. So nobody knew to check that there were systems in place and that the marketing was solid and they were already making a solid profit. And they didn't make sure that, is this farmer doing the mental coaching, the mindset work? So do they have what it takes to grow a farm? And do they have high quality employees? So those checks often don't take place when farmers find some money, outside money from other investors. So you want to make sure that if you're listening to this, do this homework. If you get money, you have the opportunity to have angel investors, or maybe you have your own cash set aside, your reserves to grow your business, do this work. Make sure you have a small, healthy business before you scale. Now, I think it's in a lot of our best interest to fund our own growth. That's what I did. I call it bootstrapping. I bootstrapped my way to scale in the first, we probably scaled the first 6 years, 5 to 6 years of the business. And I funded that with our own sales. I know it was in my best interest to do that because I was forced to learn how to build a healthy business in order to scale. I can't tell you the incredible education I got since I wasn't just handed a big fat check to scale. So money is not always the answer. You won't learn the skills to stay in business if someone just gives you money often. So I do think it's in your best interest to do this work yourself, to learn how to build a farm that can fund its own growth. Some people who come to farming with a lot of money are often out of business faster than those who had to bootstrap it, because people with a lot of money can keep throwing money at the problems. Here's what I want to tell you. Money does not fix problems. Money doesn't fix mindset problems. It can build a little extra fence, but the fence isn't what makes you profitable. It's the mindset skills you have. And money doesn't fix that. Maybe you doubt yourself, or you don't think you have enough time, or you feel inadequate in certain areas. Money doesn't fix any of that. So it's often better for your success to have to learn how to create that business on a small scale that will fund its own growth going bigger. And when you do the work that it takes to scale, you know that now you've gotten the marketing knowledge. You've invested time and money in the mindset work. So when you work to build a really healthy business at a small scale, and then you scale that healthy business up, it's a huge success. You've just scaled up a healthy business, and now you have a larger healthy business. If you try to scale up a broken business, it's limping along, you're just going to end up with, instead of a limp, a full-on broken leg, a full body cast, right? It's not going to work. And especially when a farmer has not done the personal development part of this, the mindset work, they've not learned how to master marketing in today's online world, the business won't be healthy. Okay. And the business will suffer, and then you grow broke. You don't want to do that. I've done that. It's no fun. So just know you can't spend your way to success. If you don't have the foundation in place that I teach, it's going to be a struggle. Now, I do want to emphasize again that no amount of money coming from the outside will grow your business if you don't do the personal development and the education work, if you don't figure out how to do marketing in today's world, what works, because it's very different than what you might have learned in college or in another corporate career, for instance. So make sure you've done all this wonderful work, because it pays off. You're going to take that growth wherever you go, even if you do something else in the future. All right, so here are the things, again, that you want to consider. Do you have plenty of money in your reserves, or do you have a really good day job? Do you have the working capital, that bank account you started out with, or your sales right now? Are you making a solid profit and you can reinvest that money? Have you done a forecast of what it will cost you to grow? Now, this is a very important piece that a lot of people skip. And I skipped it. I didn't actually know 10 years ago I needed to do this forecast. But you want to forecast about how much it's going to cost you to scale. Many people like to scale the income, like the anticipated how much money you can make. But you've got to do a forecast of what you anticipate the cost will be to grow. Don't forget to do that. Here's why it's so important. It's going to cost you the same amount of money whether you get there or not. So basically, the amount of money it's going to take for you to grow to that next level will be spent either way, whether it's successful or whether you go out of business. So if you decide, you do your forecast and you know it's going to cost you $50,000 to scale to the next level, and you get there, well, that $50,000 is gone, whether you're profitable or not. So make sure you figure out what the costs are going to be to scale. Now, in my hiring episode, I talked to you all about how to figure out the job description for employees and how to hire people, how to treat them, how to manage them. I gave you all of that. So you want to really take a hard look before you scale. Do you have your employee in place? Have you stopped doing the $12 or $15 an hour or $20 an hour jobs? And so you can free up your time to do the higher income jobs, the $300 an hour job or the $500 an hour job, like marketing. So have you stopped packing boxes, pulling weeds, picking flowers, driving animals to the butcher, making deliveries? Have you replaced yourself there so you can do the higher level work? Because scaling is going to require that you do even more of that work. And you want to make sure that you've got the money to pay someone and you're already training them. That way you're freed up to do the higher level jobs like marketing, business planning, building those customer relationships, maintaining them. So just let me be really clear on that if you aren't able to do your marketing or build relationships or create content, and you aren't able to get out there and sell because you're bogged down with the labor-intensive manual labor part of it, even some of the administrative things like answering just everyday emails about what are your store hours. If you're not doing that, if you're still doing that and you don't have time to do the higher level work, then you're not going to have success. So make sure you've replaced yourself at those lower level jobs so that you're freed up when you do start to scale. And the last thing you want to do is go out and hire someone full-time, usually. Now, if you're a larger farm, if you started out bigger, maybe you have the capital and you're in a place where you can hire someone full-time. Most of us, though, will start out hiring someone part-time. And that's okay. For me, I hired part-time help with the farm labor, and I hired part-time help in the office. Eventually, as we kept scaling, I ended up with a full-time farm manager, part-time employees, and I've got 2 people in my office now. So you will get there over time, but start out part-time. That's okay. Okay, now a very important step is I want you to take a look at your business as a whole and ask yourself, right now, is this the business that I want? And is everything that goes on in this business something I want more of? Here's what I mean by that. Whatever problems you have before you scale, getting bigger does not solve problems. It makes the problems bigger. It amplifies your problems. So if you have a little problem right now that you don't like, and you think, oh, I'm just going to scale up, we're going to raise double the amount, and then it'll fix that problem. No, it's not. It's going to make it worse. If you're currently in debt and you think you're going to grow and scale your business to pay off the debt, oh, this is one I hear about from people all the time. They'll come to me and they'll say, we got into debt, so then we scaled up and had to take out more debt, and we're just losing money hand over fist. It's this constant downward spiral till they go out of business. All right. So this is kind of something that's on repeat in the business world, including farmers. So if you're in debt and you try to scale, you're just going to put yourself in more deeper debt. That doesn't work. You're digging a deeper hole. Or if you're struggling with handling difficult customers and you're not good at setting boundaries and you've got problems and challenges there, well, then if you grow, you're just going to grow those problems. You're going to have bigger boundary problems, bigger customer service problems. Or maybe here's another one I hear a lot. Maybe you think, I don't have enough time. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm not organized enough. I can't fill all the orders, and you're getting behind. And you think, oh, we're going to scale. We'll get bigger so then I can hire someone and that'll fix the problem. But no, guess what? You're going to 10x your overwhelm. You're going to 10x your disorganization, and you're going to 10x you feeling like you don't have enough time. Trust me on this. I know this personally, but I know it because I see it every day with my clients. So if you have those issues on the current scale of your big business, then just know that scaling your business up will amplify everything. I even want to say, if you have trouble with your spouse or your partner or your in-laws that help you out on the farm, and then you scale, it's going to amplify those relationship problems too. All right. If you're not selling enough at the price you need to charge and your prices are too low, a lot of people think that they will scale and they will get more customers and then they will increase the price. So that if they lose as many, at least they've lost customers when they built more customers, but really you're just making it worse. You're going to make less and less money as you scale. If you're selling your product too cheap and you scale, you're just going to sell more product for cheaper and your costs will be more. So if you don't start out with the right prices and very strong marketing skills, which include being able to build those relationships so people are loyal no matter what your price is, then it won't work out. So I just want to make sure you don't get excited by these big numbers and then try to hire someone from a place of wanting something that you don't have. And that's a really important phrase too, is a lot of people want to scale because they hope to feel a certain way. They think, I will feel better if we scale up. I'll feel more profitable. I'll feel more confident that we can sell. I'll feel more certain that we can be successful if we scale. Scaling up is not going to bring you that thing, that feeling that you don't have. If you don't have it now today, it's only going to get worse when you scale. You got to do it the opposite way. You got to feel good You got to feel confident. You got to feel abundant with your time and abundant with your finances now in order to be able to scale successfully. So today, what I want you to make sure of is that your business is growing so much that you are bursting with money. You're overflowing with customers, and make sure you've got tons of opportunity. Make sure you're at a place where you can hardly hold all the money in and you can no longer serve all the customers. And only then do you start scaling. And you want to be selling your product at very high margins. Most farmers are not. Most farmers are losing money. They don't even have a profit margin, or maybe their margin is about 5% at the most. All right, some are doing a little better than that. But I want you to be making 50% profits and socking that away in your bank account, managing it with ease before you scale. Remember, you've heard me say this before, most farmers end up going out of business. So you might be sitting here thinking, well, that's really tough, but most people I see go out of business and sell everything, or they're working day jobs that they will never get out of. And instead of using their day job extra money to go on vacation, all that money is being pumped into their farm to keep their prices artificially low. So then people are buying cheap food or cheap flowers or cheap vegetables. They're artificially cheap. They're not cheap compared to the grocery store, but they're cheap compared to what you actually should be charging. So just remember, any problems you have on a small scale, like not enough money, not enough confidence, not enough customers, not enough health in your relationship, not enough time, all these problems will only get bigger. So I started scaling my business because I tend to be more conservative. I waited till I had huge demand on a wait list. It was a 6-month wait for our product before I scaled. I could have scaled up a little sooner, but I needed the confidence too, and I didn't have it yet. And I was glad I waited to build the confidence first before I scaled. But I had way more people that wanted to pay me money that I couldn't even allow to pay me money because I didn't have the product yet. Here's what's interesting. This will happen to you too. There are other farmers all around me with similar products, but because I market the way I teach you, they wanted to wait for me to scale. They were willing to wait 6 months or a year for us to scale so they could buy from us. And this is what you learn how to do. You learn how to create this loyal demand before you ever scale, so you can recreate the same thing on your farm. Then you hit the ground running. You don't have to worry about having excess product sitting around perishable, going bad, or in a freezer for a year. Okay? And also make sure that you are ready to scale, that you've done the work of having all these things in place. Some people scaled larger because they think our customers expect more from us. They expect to have this product. They feel pressured by customers that, oh, we're glad you raise chickens, but we want to buy our pork from you too. And so farmers will expand and start raising pork and expand too quickly, scale too quickly, and grow broke again. So if you feel pressured by customers or anyone outside of you, guess what? That's feedback that you haven't learned to manage your mindset. People can't make you feel pressure. You feel pressure when you're having thoughts that create that. So if you're creating that pressure, then use that as feedback. You need some mindset coaching because you need the thinking skills in order to run a business. You need to hone that mindset. And these are things that aren't taught to us. Most people only learn the mindset part of running a business when they're faced with a huge challenge in life. They wonder why they feel so terrible and why their business is failing. And then they realize, oh, there's this whole set of strategies and thinking and mindset work that I never knew existed. But this is what successful business owners do. They get this in place before they grow. So just make sure you're developing that skill too, okay? Now, you know you've got to scale and grow your business responsibly and with intention, Make sure you have the money ahead of time, or it's steadily coming in with your profit margins or your day job. The money doesn't show up after you scale. You've got to know how to create it before you scale. Don't spend the money and go into debt in anticipation of growth, okay? The only time you can do that is at the very beginning. When you start up, you might get a loan for your land or maybe a couple vehicles or something. Then before you scale, make sure that startup is selling, that you're selling everything with ease for top dollar, and that you know how to sell to strangers, not just to family and friends. That you've created a loyal customer base. Make sure all your systems and infrastructure are working. Make sure your relationships are sound in your family and with your customers. Make sure you've invested money in learning marketing, and you're not just doing what other people tell you to do or using YouTube to figure out marketing, but you've actually invested in learning today's modern online marketing methods, okay? Make sure also you're doing the work to learn to manage your mind. You can always come coach with me one-on-one. Okay, that is always, like I said, 3cowmarketing.com/strategy. You can come figure out if my program is right for you. It's very rigorous to work with me. And I would love to help you get in a place where you are ready to finally build that profitable farm. All right, take care, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. For more great resources, check out theprofitablemindset.com. See you next time.